Alright, turn my dust collector off. That's one of the things I had to have because I was working in the house as a little portable dust collector. But one of the things that is really interesting to me is that this is my first time working with, it's called Lacewood. I think I'm going to have to do a little research on this because I have no idea what kind of tree. Is it a lace tree? I've never heard of it. But anyway, this is Lacewood. Now I want you to look at this piece. I mean, look at the design of this wood. I don't know if this is part of the trunk or maybe a limb or anything, but anyway, this is a raw block. I got this block, I think from Bell Forest is where I ordered this one from. Usually I get all of my material from Penn State Industries, but I just so happened I just saw a good deal and I thought I'd try it out, and I got this from here. But anyway, man, this, when I was turning it and looking at it, I thought I'd make a video because this really intrigues me on how it branches out and how it has these little, I don't know, it almost looked like honeycomb. I mean, but you just look at that, how it turns around. And so what I've done so far on it is, of course, I've turned it and sanded. I sanded down to about, let's see, how far did I go? I think I went down to 2400 grit sandpaper. And then I used my handy dandy Triple E Ultra Shine on it. And so I hadn't done the wax, but the wax will be next. But I used this, and I also ordered this from Penn State Industries, and it's really good. It works on the woods, and especially when you can usually sand your wood down to about, they say 600 grit, but I usually go further than that because when I sand it, I want it to be extremely smooth for one thing, and then I want to be able to, I don't want any extra lines in it. So I think on another video, when I showed you when I'm sanding it, I sand it this way. I sand it up and down, have my sandpaper. Let me grab a piece. Anyway, I sand it up and down this way. Okay, and then when I get done, I'll stop my machine and I rub that with the grain. Because of course, when I'm sanding it, I'm usually sanding across the grain. And then I'll rub it going with the grain. And then once I get it down to 1200 or more, just depends on the wood, 1200 grit, maybe like I said, this is 2400. Sometimes I've gone all the way down to 12,000 just to really smooth it out real good. But anyway, when I put this Triple E Ultra Shine on it, it really brings out a great shine. I've asked my wife at one time, I said, can you notice the difference between this and when I put my Sheila wax on it? And Sheila wax is another product I use. Let me show you. Sheila wax is another product I use. And you use it only after you use your Triple E. And it's in the description, it tells you not to use Triple E under anything else other than the Sheila wax or whatever type of wax you decide to use. But this Sheila wax is awesome. They have a liquid form of Sheila wax. But I tell you what, this paste light wax, and same thing with this, I don't know if they offer the liquid form of Triple E. I mean, because it does have, it's kind of abrasive, so I don't think they do that. But anyway, I know they do it with the Sheila wax. For one, the wax lasts a lot longer. So you're going to get your money's worth when you're using the paste as opposed to using the oil. I don't have an idea why you would use the oil. I'm not sure because the only thing I've turned are pins. So maybe you use the oil if you turn in bowls or something else, but I don't know. But I really like the paste, and I think I can apply this paste to any material that I'm working with. And it also allows me to really work it in, because I know most of this, like this Triple E, that is going into the wood and not on my cloth, because the oil, I know that will probably soak right back into my cloth and I won't get as much into it. But when I apply this paste and rub it into the wood real good, I like to let it sit on it for a few seconds, you know, and you will notice the color change. It makes a deep, strong color and really shows the characteristics of the wood. And that's why I'm really, you know, excited about this new lacewood that I'm working with. As you see, this lacewood, how I thought it was going to tear apart, but it didn't. It held together really well. And you see how it looks here. So let me see if it works. Let me try it. I'm going to try to use some of this and put it on here. Let's try. Okay. Of course, when I use it, I'm going to end up cutting it and turning it off. It's not polished regularly, but you see, just like you see, anytime you put any kind of oil on it, it'll change the texture. But here, it soaks it in really good. But this is just putting it on there, as you can see the difference. But when I put it on there and I get my smooth rag and I turn it at about between 22 to 3200 RPM, I get a really nice shine. And again, it shows the characteristics of it. But again, I tell you, I'm not familiar with any other waxes or polishes. I want to reiterate that I am new at this. I'm just a beginner. This is the machine and the products that I started with when I ordered it. It all came together in one deal. I ordered it to where I had the machine, wax. It gave me some wood to start with, to learn with. And it also came with this Benjamin's Best. I don't really use it much anymore. Sometimes I have used it to rough up some material, which I just started using it again, using to rough up some material. But I don't really use it much anymore because I've gone from this. This is a carbide tip. In fact, you know, you screw it in and put it in. It's carbide tip and it's good for roughing. But now, most of what I use now is I can't think this is Savannah's. It doesn't have the name on it. It has a name on the box that it comes in, but I think this is something like Savannah. I'm not sure. I hope I'm not saying it wrong, but I use this because I like it because I can take the tips off and on and rotate them. And they're usually not as, these are not as expensive as the tips that go in here. And then I only get one side. But with these, I could turn it around and I get more angles to look at it. So I basically use the Savannah. So anyway, I was really intrigued with how this came out when I do it. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, I'm going to see if you can notice. If you notice a difference in that, send me a message. Again, you have your friends look at it, subscribe to it, give me some tips. All you professional or master turners out there who know a lot about this, I'm always open to suggestions and trying new things. Again, after I've rubbed that on my Triple E, now I'm going to rub my Sheila wax on it. And again, I like to rub it in the wood before I turn it. Something I want you guys to pay attention to if you start turning. You see this black residue? This dark residue comes from me rubbing on the metal. And it doesn't happen so much when you're doing the wax, but when you're doing the abrasive material, anything that's abrasive, it changes the color off of that. And you got to be careful not to pull that back onto your wood. So if I run into my bushings, I'll try to keep going out and away from it. Because there have been times where I've done it and I just go back when I first started, and then it puts this black residue inside of my wood. And the only way I can get that out is to use another, go back to abrasive type material and get it out. So if you happen to run up on this, start from here. You know, if you have to, start as close as possible to it and go away. But once you get to it and you see you rubbed it, get some of that black residue build up on it, go ahead and rub it away from it and change your pad whatever you're doing it with. Again, it's always good to use something that can tear easily. You don't want to use a rag. It says use a rag, but I would highly suggest that you use something that will break away pretty easily, or paper towels work just as well. Paper towels work just as well. But I like the paint and cleaning rags. I bought a bag of those. Yeah, see my son, he's a good cameraman. I bought these, and they work really well, you know. So, and look at that. Made in USA. Look at that. Made in USA. I like that. Anyway, so what I'm going to do here now that I got my wax on is I'm going to rub in that wax. And I turn it on again. I got it at like 3,200 RPM. Oh, right now it's at 29, which is good. I got my mask right here. I probably need to move it, which I am going to move my mask because I don't want the wax to pop up on the inside of my mask. I usually still have it on when I'm doing it, so I don't have to do that. But I don't need my mask while I'm doing this. So let me turn it back on. And again, with the wax, so if I come over here and get some of that on it, then I'll just go ahead and keep going away from it. But see, as I was saying earlier, the wax doesn't take that material away. It doesn't take it off the metal. So you don't have to worry about it nearly as much. I also want to show you, and when you rub this on, it develops some heat. So when you're doing it, this will come kind of shiny and kind of solid, waxy build up right here. And that's what you want to do. And I like to do that, and then I move the towel and take any excess off of it. I also like to make sure that my wood is kind of warm, because it's always good. I suggest that you put more than one coat on it. So I get my wood warm, turn it off, and I rub some more on it. Now my second one, I'm going to do an overhand, over the top buffing. And you got to be careful when you do this, is because we want to apply pressure to it. But again, do not lean on it, because it doesn't take that much. It doesn't take that much pressure, just a little pressure on it. Because if you lean towards it and lean on it, you're risking breaking, warping your mandrel. Also, you're risking slipping off the paper towel and falling into the machine. Then you're going to get your clothes tied up in it. You'll be wrapped up in it, pull your skin off, break an arm. I say break an arm because I saw a gentleman get his shirt caught up in a moving part, and it pulled him in and broke his arm. Actually, it did worse than that, but I don't want to say that on video. It did worse than that. So let's just say he ain't got that arm no more. It wasn't pretty. So I don't know if you can see this. I'll tell you another thing of what I like about this Sheila wax is that it has a pleasant odor to it, pleasant aroma. Kind of smells like butterscotch, honey. It really has a pleasant odor to it. But anyway, this is my Lacewood. all shined up. All shined up. Okay? And I'm going to show you something else. Let me show you how I assemble this. So I like to do a couple of other things while I'm waiting on it. See, so I warm it up so it's warm when I'm working on the wood. So I'll do a couple other things, or I'll take my time taking it off. The reason why I take my time taking it off is to let the wax and stuff settle into it. You see, I don't want to, if it's still warm, I don't want to go and put my fingerprints on it. I want it to kind of solidify and let it continue to soak in. Or you could say that I just want the wax to cure a little bit more before I start handling it a lot. Now make sure I don't have any excess wax or anything on my fingers while I'm doing it. So when I take this apart, every time I use it, I like to clean my bushings off. Even though I'm going to use the same one again, I like to get the excess wax. Sometimes these braces make me pronounce words incorrectly. So you guys just bear with me. And it's something I want you to notice. I want you to look at the shape of this. A lot of times I've seen people make pens, and it's your preference, but I don't tend to do it. When they're using the wood, they make it real big and bulky. And I've had people tell me that they've seen people kind of make, this is a single shaft pen. Usually they make a lot of, I make some double ones or 2-part pens, but this is a single part pen. They say it almost looks like a B, like the letter B. So, and I don't do that. I like to shape my pens to the way that we were right with it. So as you notice, it comes down, and this is going to be the front of my pen. Comes down and it slants down towards it because we're going to be holding it down here, and the bigger part is going to go towards the back end of it. You know, you hold it and do your little writing. Hear that? Had to make that sound. My wife, every time I do that, she likes to get me to repeat it. She say, like, how did that go? So I'll repeat it for her to make the little sound, whatever kind of noise. It's not always that, something. Because usually when I'm talking to her, I like to make the noise, you know, I guess to kind of put some emphasis on what I'm talking about. So, there's my pen here. Let me get my parts that I ordered. Fancy, fancy. So, this is a new pen I'm putting together. Sometimes I have to, they call it the Federal Twist Pen. You can stay looking at that, bud. Or come over there. So with this color, I chose to use the Lacewood. A lot of times I like to try to match the color to the wood or whatever someone likes to order. If someone said, hey, I would like this style of a pen with this kind of wood, and I'll make it regardless of what I think about it. But when I'm just making them, I'll make it to what I think would be good. So anyway, this is a Parker style refill. Parker style refills. You can refill it. Okay. So I got to make sure I don't lose my springs or any other part of it. And I like to keep all my work up here because I definitely don't want to drop any of it. Ooh, Federal. That looks pretty fancy, fancy. So I'm new at doing this. I don't know. Okay, so this shaft goes on here. So you guys are going to watch me put this pen together for the first time. The very, very, very first time. I think they make a song out of that. I wrote a song about it. Want to hear it? Here it go. This is all new to me, so bear with me. Cool. So, it looks like I need to put this in here. Give my spring.
It's like a giant puzzle.
Yeah, this is new to me, so. Oh, see, that's a turning mechanism. Well, that lets me know about how far out that's going to come. So anyway, this basically just comes on here. Now, but I want you to know that once I press this on, this is going to be attached to this. However, so what I like to do is the direction of the grain, like you see how this is going, like it has a little oval, it's going that direction. A lot of times I like to point it towards the direction that the grain is going. Let me see. Can you focus on that, bud? Let's see here. I don't know. We'll see here. Let's touch it. There we go. Hold on. There we go. You see the direction of that? Yeah, there we go. How it's pointing down. He's trying. He's working on it. How it's pointing down. I like to try to make the pen face that direction if possible. If at all possible. So, the clip anyway. So, we're going to start that clip going in. I'm going to make sure it's lined up on it. My little pen press. Let me take that out of there. Because I don't want the head of the pen facing out while I'm doing it. And I'll keep this pointed down while I'm pressing it. You lock it in. And I'll keep it there. Because I don't want it to move on me. Once I get a little close to where I know it won't move. There we go. Nice. And let me try it out now. Okay. There we go. Ta-da. Close it. Open. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the detail on this. And again, it's called a federal style pen. And this is made with Lacewood. Lacewood. Beautiful pen. So, anyway, I'm going to post this on my website, Handcrafted Pens and More. And it will be for sale. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it or learned something. Every new experience with me, I'm going to share with you guys, and I appreciate you for watching. God bless.